Hey, welcome back, everybody. How about that? 2 nights in a row. Let me just make sure the audio is coming through good. Or well, I should say. Hey, welcome back, everybody. How about that? Okay, I'm a little tinny, but I think we're okay. Welcome back to Geek presents Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. I'm your host, Brian. And we've got quite the panel joining us tonight. I'll let them go around and introduce themselves in turn. How are you this evening, panel? But I think we're okay.
Fine, Ardenon Studio.
Welcome back to Geek presents Final Fantasy Tactics
Hello,
Retrospective. I'm your host, Brian. And
hello, everyone. This
we've
is the
got
Paul
quite the
Barkovs.
panel. I think we're okay. Welcome back to Geek presents Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. It's been a while. I'm your host, Brian. Well, since we've seen some of you guys, welcome back. We've got quite the panel joining us tonight. I know that I asked you often, but how's everyone? And introduce themselves. Well, I suppose last time in turn we saw everybody was near the beginning of Lent.
Fine, Ardenon Studio.
Welcome back to Geek presents how's everybody's
Hello,
Easter
Marcel.
perspective? I'm your host, Brian.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, I think March 17th was last time before last night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been kind of nuts. Let's see, joining us in the YouTube live chat we have author Raul Nyanzi. Hello, Raul. Author Bradford Walker was with us last night. Always great to see Bradford. And Bad Player, who is echoing, not the double ellipses, actually writing out echo. There, that should have fixed that. Let me know if that doesn't clear up. Oh, and Fiona Wolf. Also, Edo Higuma, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Let's see. Where's Discord? Panelists being kind
This
of
was
quiet.
good with the
Okay.
traditional annual watch of Passion of the Christ. Maybe, aside from the normal reasons, it kind of made me sad because we're not ever going to get another Passion film. At least for not for another couple of decades. Like, it's kind of the definitive version. What else is there left to do?
Yeah, every once in a while you see those meme teaser posters for the Passion 2. And despite myself, I always get my hopes up.
Isn't he doing it though?
Oh, wait, is he really doing it?
Yeah, I thought that
Last dream project I thought he wanted to do was the second USS Laffy, the kamikaze attacks on it. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's actually working on. I know that was 4 years ago.
we get one of those, that's great. But no, Passion of the Christ, Resurrection.
Yeah, there's an IMDb page for it, but there's like nothing.
It's supposed to be in 2024, last I heard.
We shall see. So that's something to look forward to. Raul Nancy says, the follow-up to the Passion is the Acts of the Apostles. Good one. Oh, good, and the echo is gone. Yeah, I think that's because I actually just... I was listening to the YouTube feed just to make sure we weren't echoing, and I think my mic picked it up, so I've now muted that, and we should be fine. So, gentlemen,
As much as I'd love to see an Acts of the Apostles, I don't think we are going to see one, considering the second most hated man after Christ appears to be the Apostle Paul, especially in Hollywood and a lot of publishing.
Gee, I wonder why. Even Hannibal Lecter threw shade at him. Although if we're known by our enemies, that speaks well of Paul. Anyway, gentlemen, are we ready to get into some gaming?
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, as you can see, I've done some leveling up since last night. Martel, I think you might have been here when we got TG Sid in the party. We've been trying him out, and man, has he just been a beast. He helped us hold off superior forces on not one, but 2 bridges. We just kept funneling them into him like a meat grinder, and he did the rest.
Excellent.
And then we also picked up a Temple Knight named Beowulf, and we have a sub-quest to do like a 4-battle boss rush in a coal mine, which is itself a preamble to getting Cloud. For those just joining us last night, you can go back and watch the replay. We met a familiar-looking flower girl with rather angular bangs and pigtails, who sold us a flower for 1 gil and was pining for her knight in shining armor. So we'll see if we can find him. Anyway, that's my intro. So chat in the panel can feel free to dive into whatever topics interest them. Oh, a new challenger enters the arena.
Excellent.
Identify yourself.
I think I appear to have woken up with a neon dog's head somehow. I think my name is CL or something.
Well, I might want to, if that doesn't clear up in like a week, you might want to get to the clinic and get it looked at.
Side effects may include cynocephaly.
I will take it as a sign of being part of the elect.
That's a spirit.
Or part of a German power metal band.
It's hard to tell sometimes, you know?
I set these guys up for battle.
No one else has any conversation starters.
How much did I miss? I lost track of time reading.
The introductions.
Yeah, we talked about spooky doll islands. And,
here.
we talked about spooky doll islands in Mexico. Why we'll never get another movie like The Passion of the Christ. The usual. Oh, how Hollywood hates St. Paul.
Sounds like a thorough introduction.
Pretty much par for the course for us.
I had a lot of help.
Sasuga Geek Gab.
Yeah.
Well, I've been plugging away. Got to get some more reading done over the weekend, so I continue to read through Mothman Prophecies. And the more I read, the more my own moon landing theory runs towards. We landed there, we found something that we decided the public could not know about. And that's why we just kind of quietly stopped going there after a bit. There's a lot of...
Did Keel get into the
stuff?
Yeah, did Keel get into the first-hand accounts from astronauts about UFO sightings on the moon?
I haven't finished it yet. He has not gotten to that part yet. Just the countless encounters with the Men in Black, vaguely tied with possibly the Air Force or some other government organization and lots of highly advanced flying machines.
Fascinating. Rawl in chat says, "Watch out, Brian. With riding, I may close the distance with you in a year." Well, it looks like I must decrease and he must increase. Yep, spiritual advisor to the Pulprev. That's me. It's a hard, thankless job, but
But sinecure if you can land it.
yeah. Well, someone's got a witch test online. Cringe fedoras. Oh, we've had a bumper crop lately.
After this,
Yeah.
do you already have plans for whatever comes after Z-Strike?
I've got irons in the fire. I've got to potentially. Boy, I don't want to talk this up too much, because if it doesn't come to fruition, I'm gonna have egg on my face. But I'm looking at a major collaboration, which could take my game to the next level. So stay posted. If you're not subscribed to my newsletters yet, now would probably be a good time. If only because Z-Strike Indiegogo is on the way. Looking to launch that next month.
Booyah.
That's right.
That cover is awesome looking.
Yeah, I'm
Yes, it was.
very intrigued because since for the first time we don't have a classic Exceed on it. It's a mech of a completely different make.
Oh,
So
that's a very classic Exceed on there.
Oh, I'm used to seeing it in a certain the Eschaton style, and the one
Yes.
then with a Gundam-esque paint job. So seeing a red one in a different body style is very intriguing.
Well, most astute
I
of
love the
UPA.
detail of the nose art on the shoulder.
Oh, I'm glad somebody noticed that. Oh man, I wonder if there's a way I can share it live on air, but I don't think the Elgato software lets me do that. Because otherwise, this would be a great place to show it.
Are you running Elgato through OBS?
No. Man, I don't even know what that would do. Like, we've had so many problems with getting the Elgato to cooperate with YouTube and Discord. I do not want to risk adding another layer of complexity. What I will do is link to my blog post in the live chat. So here you go, chat. Here's the new Exceed cover. 799, I have the power of posting links in chat. Yeah, let us know what you think.
There it is.
But yeah, so that is indeed not an Exceed. That is the Grenzmark 4. But I thought it deserved it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Oh, good to hear. But I think you guys are both right, because I think Ardenon knew what it was ahead of time. And he's using Exceed in the generic, colloquial sense.
I don't know if I'd say I knew it ahead of time, but as soon as I saw that picture in that dome, it was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's nice.
Oh yeah. I don't know, maybe you'll get to
Always
draw.
good when you can bring back the classics.
Exactly, and that's kind of a theme of this coming book. Yeah, who knows, maybe you'll get to draw some variants depending on the Build-A-Mechs, because so far, you and CL's collaboration on the Typhon just, I think it knocked some socks off.
Looking forward to it. So lining up those backers, see what's going on. I'm jazzed.
Good. Okay, I better pay attention to this fight then.
I do plan on picking up another Build-A-Mix, so I look forward to working with A.
Ooh, thank you. There you go,
all
folks.
behind that one. Excellent, excellent.
There you go, folks. There's one claimed.
I might hop in this time.
Yeah, I've been talking about it. I actually have some free cash for once. So
Nice. All right, so that's a warning to everybody out there because, like I said before, I do plan to reduce the number of Build-A-Mechs available this time compared to last time because I think I still have a couple from the previous campaign that I still need to work into this book, and this is it. This is the last book. So any new ones I take in, I've really got to try to work in this time. Or I don't know. I might make some other accommodation, but yeah, there's two everybody. So join that newsletter because you get first dibs. Oh, let's see. Where's a good spot?
So, I'm curious. I had a thought the other day, and I'm curious what the panel thinks on it, because it's a topic we've discussed on and offline before. How many of you ever watched the Black Pilled channel movie reviews?
No, I have.
Sorry, one more time.
The Black Pilled YouTube channel movie reviews?
Occasionally,
No.
yes.
Okay. So I was watching his review on A Tale of Two Time Machine the other day, and on the political side, great, whatever, he's already covered that. What stuck out to me was actually the difference in agency as approached between the two stories. For those who don't know, there's a YouTube channel who does movie reviews, among other things. And one of the things he reviewed was the, I believe, 1960 version of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and then the 2001. Roughly that difference in years. Both of which are essentially adaptations of H.G. Wells' classic story, The Time Machine. Yeah, what stuck out to me was that the 1960 version of H.G. Wells has actual agency, and the 2001 version doesn't.
something I have noticed, kind of tying it into other things. Sad Gamergate, sad puppies, pretty much any consumer revolt of the past decade. The criticism is that the people that don't agree with the pop cult version lack agency, and they're just mindlessly following some demagogue, whether that be internet aristocrat, Rocksteady, Trump, or they even a couple days ago there was a tweet that tried to paint the Germans in World War II as that sort of mindless agency-less type soldiers, and that's why they got rolled up on by the Allies.
Oh,
So
don't
you-
started on that thing.
Anyone who's a serious student knows that of history, or even watched the History Channel back when it was the Hitler Channel, knows that that's not true. But the trend of assuming you're any rebels to the pop cult have no agency and aren't is a growing trend. So it doesn't surprise me, considering how many poison pills were started in the around 2000, cultural ground zero and earlier, it doesn't surprise me to see that lack of agency um, in media around that time, because it's really, they're really trying to portray um, anything but mindless obedience as sheep. So
Well, not quite what I was getting at.
yeah, no, I was
But
kind of I know I was kind of piggybacking, but it's just something I've noticed a lot lately.
Fair. But what I was thinking was like, I'll consider the impetus behind the time machine in the story. In the 1960 version, and I'm just going to call both characters H.G. Wells because that's yeah. But in the 1960 version, H.G. Wells doesn't much care for the time he's born in, wants to travel to the future to see what happens, and invents a time machine to do it. Whereas in the 2000 version, he's this, revolutionary iconoclast who wants to tear down the prevailing social order and upend norms and all that. But really, all that he does is invent things like electric toothbrushes and just talk to his students. And he doesn't invent a time machine until his fiancée is killed in a mugging gone wrong. And he invents the time machine to try to save her. And you see that going throughout the story. Like, H.G. Wells travels to the future, sees Eloy drowning, and dives into the river to save her, then realizes that the Eloy essentially have no civilization, so he tries to shake them out of their complacency and redo it. The H.G. Wells of the 2000 time machine travels to the future, gets rescued after his time machine crashes, and then just kind of goes with the flow and does whatever. And like I said, the original review analyzed all of the political aspects. It did a perfectly fine job of that. What I find interesting is just the heroes in 1960s era stories have purpose, they have goals, they have a drive, and then around late 90s, early 2000s, cultural ground zero, maybe, you see heroes who just kind of do whatever, and the only characters who have any agency, if they have any, are the villains. And half the time, they don't have agency. They're just doing it because they got bullied as a kid or whatever.
Why does this also sound like the difference between Bro SR parties and other D&D parties?
Yeah, you're following the story as instead of acting out what you want to do. You're caught in the story. You're just a character. You're just a puppet that's being moved around. You happen to have strings attached. In the more modern story that you're talking about, or the modern D&D game.
I wouldn't be surprised if it ties in with the need in newer fiction for the relatable protagonist. And since the Bugman audience doesn't feel they have much agency in their lives, they relate better to a character that's merely caught up in external forces around them than one that's able to act.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if some of it's a hero's getting the hero's journey wrong again. Did notice that a lot of heroes kind of float through the adventure until something personally affects them, and then they get serious.
That's what Bradford Walker in
Just
that's what Bradford Walker in the chat is saying. Is agreeing with you that protagonists of old made things happen. Post-Ground Zero protagonists have things happen to them.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Rod Taylor wasn't taking no guff from no Morlocks in 1960.
I just find it interesting that in this tale of two different time machines, at pretty much every step, the 2000s protagonist is the opposite of the 1960s protagonist in that he just does stuff. Things occur, and he happens to be standing there. I don't know, maybe it's related, but I was having a conversation about One Piece the other day. Favorite arcs. And I got a little bit ticked off when this guy said, "Yeah, I just don't like Crocodile as a character. He just didn't seem to have any motivation." And for those who don't know anything about One Piece, Crocodile is this pirate lord who has a plan to take over a kingdom and declare himself the king.
Simple.
Nope, no motivation there.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not telling me this is the type of person who wants to stop an action scene so we can get a detailed emotional picture of what's going through the person's mind while they're trying not to get hit?
No, that's the weird thing. He actually prefers the, I guess there's an abridged or a cut version of Dragon Ball Z. Not Dragon Ball Z abridged, but just something that cuts all of the filler out. And he vastly prefers that one. So it's just... Then again, his favorite character is Usopp, so maybe that has something to do with it.
I don't know, because Usopp turns into a great character.
I hate him. The best arc was the one where we thought we never had to see him again. And then we have to see him again.
Oh, I'd say you're invested.
Say again?
I'd say you're invested.
Yeah. But it's just, like, yeah, Crocodile is just such a weak character. I mean, what's his motivation? His motivation is that he wants to take over a kingdom. He's a pirate. What? Yeah, but why does he want to take over the kingdom? Because he's a pirate.
Because it's there.
Yeah, really, I think both of those attitudes, both on the part of PostGround Zero creators who can only write reactive protagonists and audience members who just want a character's entire life story, like down to the subatomic level, is just widespread effeminacy, man. It's just like to be masculine is to be proactive, to be feminine is to be reactive. It's initiative versus receptivity. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... Piracy is awesome. That's the be-all and end-all right there.
Can confirm.
Every good story has pirates.
Yeah.
See my book for more.
Pirates are
Every
fun.
single culture, and every single culture at some point in its history has thought, hey, that tribe over the hill has really nice things. Let's just take it. Like, the Japanese, pirates. The Norse, pirates. Romans, pirates. Arabs, pirates.
Americans?
Pirates.
Heck, we even had pirates, American pirates, up until up in the 1920s and 1930s. Now, granted, they were robbing rum runners, but you know, it was still piracy.
Piracy, still.
Well, I know you don't be trying to steal my armor.
mentions, those people are the
Sorry, go ahead.
Bradford just said those people are like the folks who like the Japanese practice of summarizing a story in the title.
Yeah, I've had other authors tell me
I was
that,
enjoying my peaceful life in the Shire, and then a Dark Lord's magic ring came into my lap, and now I have to go to Mount Doom to destroy it.
yeah, see, I had heard like last
Hey.
year from other authors that that's what you got to do now, man, because of like readers' buying habits on Amazon and like other outlets that you got to summarize it in the title. Can we all agree
Well,
to be glad that that trend is over, like of Westerners adopting that?
Yes.
yeah, it makes sense for the Japanese to do it, but, well, to a certain degree. Apparently got started by market research concluding that no one ever read covers, so they started putting the back cover in the title.
Yeah, well, you know what I miss. You know what I miss about about blurbs and covers right now. 2020, things were short. You got 3 paragraphs, and they tried to grab you in the 3 paragraphs. And now everyone's wandering away from short, succinct, and catchy to, for lack of a better term, Bane-style essays. Again. Okay, shorts, you're trying to make people read a short story just to figure out what's in your book type stuff. So it's been disappointing to see something really catchy, really effective get pushed out of the way for standard industry practices that help run off the readership.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think a lot of that's just the internet amplifies. Like, trends are just amplified by the internet.
speaking of internet trends, so who saw Elon Musk's Twitter thread about where's all the conservative science fiction at, and why can't Netflix stick to making science fiction and fantasy about science fiction and fantasy?
Yeah, C.S. Lewis says first and second things again. So you write good, you write good science. You put the science fiction, you put the story first, and you'll have the good science fiction, the good world building, all the things people also enjoy in addition to the story. But like with a lot of the picking on hard science fiction or picking on lit RPG or style or message or a lot of the things going around Twitter, it always comes down to people putting some other element besides the story first. And C.S. Lewis says if you don't put first things first, if you put first things first, you get second things. But if you put second things first, you no longer get first or second things. And in the case of Netflix, and we all know that they're tied to the second thing of message, you get neither first or second things, and you lose your audience and have your stock price crater.
Yeah, I've got to do a touchdown dance on that one, because they've lost something like 200,000 subscribers, and they're expected to announce to have lost like maybe up to 1 million. So, yeah, a lot of people not giving money to people who hate them. The word is spreading.
Today is just full of good news.
Oh yeah, what else?
The Florida Senate.
If you say anything about Florida, I'm going to stop you right here now.
Okay. Stopped.
Yep, save it for the offline.
Oh,
Okay.
Charm Vagaries.
Yeah, don't want to be that guy, but
Just
Not a problem.
yeah, we can discuss it offline.
if you're curious, just type a certain well-known entertainment company's name into your search engine of choice, followed by a certain state.
Reedy Creek.
Oh, what's she gonna do?
Okay. Well, let's go back to Netflix.
I'm dreading this. Go ahead. It'll get my mind off. Oh no. Yeah, you better get into that.
Is everything going wrong at once?
Yes. Oh, well, she leveled up.
Well, let's just say Netflix and the other thing don't help my Schadenfreude addiction any. So, anyways, going back to Netflix.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure
that's
we
reasonable.
have that built in.
Yeah.
That's
Well, since we do seem to be in a lull, so what's everyone reading right now?
Working one hand, I've got Mothman Prophecies, and the other, I'm reading The Long Halloween for the first time.
Okay. What's the Long Halloween?
That one, if you ask someone who makes a movie about a man who dresses like a bat, almost every time you ask them what was an influence on this, they will say The Long Halloween.
Yeah, it's up there with
Okay.
like The Dark Knight
Definitely need to look that
Returns.
one up then.
Yeah. It's up there with The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke in terms of every Batman movie since 1989's source material.
It's like, which version of The Long Halloween are we getting this time? So I'm about, I don't know, a third of the way through now. And
Okay.
I'm glad I'm reading it because my friend advised me to read it because they recently did an animated adaptation of it. And the animated adaptation is done in the typical DC animated style, which is, I don't really care for much. But the book is done in this gorgeous, I can't really say Mike Mignola-esque because it predates Mike Mignola's work, but like heavy use of like German expressionist, like noir looking use of shadows and color. Like, it's a very artistic book, and seems kind of insulting for them to take that source material and just render it in their typical house style.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Oh yeah, I did remember Midnight's Edge talking about this when they were talking about their review of The Batman. So, okay. I might have to pull this one up. So, well, let's see. We just finished the second to last Konosuba, which is a little bit of a letdown. It's not that light novels don't usually end naturally, so I'm a little curious to see how this one does. And this was all kind of set up for the finale, so there really wasn't much meat there. But it wasn't bad. But well, it's part one. You always have to wait for part two to see how it pays off. And then I'm working my way through the most recent Perry wrote down Neo book. This one B7. I'm a little bit. Let's see. It's a little bit frustrating too. I'm not trying to be negative. I like when Perry Rodin Neo fires on all cylinders. It's great. You got some real good, real suspenseful, not quite pulp, but depending on the author, occasionally it hits a speed bump where you're going, okay, boomer, because it's like draws to a complete halt to like, okay, you got this action-packed protagonist and all that, and then he trips on his feet, and we've got a example on why initiative and why this is bad, or why war sucks, or why nationalism bad. And it's not even like in the current context. It's just very European from 10 years ago, and the world's changed a lot since. And it kind of trips, when it gives those lessons that kind of go for more soft power and inaction and kind of just floating through things, except instead of being proactive, decisive, not necessarily violent, but willing to act. It's kind of comes to a screeching halt. So there's a lot of good things. I do recommend it, but I do recommend the series. But there's going to be some things you might trip over because it's still science fiction, and it still conforms to a lot of American science fiction norms. So.
Interesting. I guess I'll go next. I just finished up reading The Wells of Ur. Some John Mollison, Brian Reniger, and other Pylum Press folks. Good book. It's an anthology series. I'm really liking short story anthologies. They're really where I want to be reading, and I'm glad there's getting to be more and more of them. I'm just about to start in on the Planetary Anthology series with Saul, so I'm looking forward to that.
May I interrupt really quick?
Yeah.
About the Planetary Anthology.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going out of print very soon, and they won't be sold very much longer. So if you are interested, buy them now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I've got
Tuscany Bay just made a big tweet about them letting them go out of the catalog, and part of it is because on the backside, the anthology series is it's pretty grueling for them.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. I'm doing okay with the ebook so far. So I picked up the entire set during one of the last Hans Schan sales when he was running it was maybe the Memorial Day sale or Thanksgiving Day sale. So that was one of those that just popped in. So I said I got to grab these. And then in between that, I am reading Triplanetary again by E. Doc Smith.
Good one.
Yep, very enjoyable.
Anyone else?
Unfortunately, I haven't really been reading much lately.
I've just been reading what my
Well,
clients
I have,
send me to
just
edit.
not for fun.
Yeah, same here. That is a paradox of becoming a professional author and editor is way less time to read for pleasure. And man, I need to get rid of that sniper. Oh. Sending TG said to murder you.
If it isn't editing, it's getting rid of snipers. It really gets in the way.
Yeah, we're gonna do it right now.
Now, I would like to start reading Star Knights. Been meaning to get back into it. I just keep
Oh, that's fine.
things in the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, I keep on adding to my to-read pile. I had picked up 3 issues of The Phantom Detective. So The Phantom Detective was the second hero pulp after The Shadow. So now they call him now the Phantom Detective, even though he's the Phantom.
Right.
But he, the Ghost Who Walks is more publicly known. So that's kind of how they differentiate. So I'm kind of curious to see that. I'm also curious because they have a couple of the old pulp science fiction authors writing mystery for it. So I'm going to be digging through some of their short stories that were attached to the Phantom Detectives novellas. So
So is this an identical character to Lee Falk's Phantom, just doing detective work, or totally separate character?
totally separate character with an all too similar name.
Oh, interesting fact I learned about the Phantom now. So, you can basically thank the theatrical productions of Robin Hood and Greek statues for the way superheroes dress. Because that was why he decided to put the Phantom in spandex and give him the whited out eyes behind the domino mask. These Greek statues have just blank white eyes, and that looks very regal. And I like how those Robin Hood stage production fellows dress.
The other thing that drives comic book characters is circus performers. Essentially spandex tights with your underwear on the outside.
I was going to say, I thought that circus strongmen were a big influence on stuff like Superman.
They were probably a bigger influence on characters that were a little more like the Hulk. But circus acrobats tended to be the big push for comic books, at least as far as dress.
Interesting. Yeah, I've kind of also looking. There's a famous poster of Phantomas. Forgive me, I don't speak. I don't speak Latin languages, so I know I got that off. But it has that domino. It has that domino mask with the really wide eyes.
Yeah, and if we're talking about the same Phantomas, that is a wild character.
Yeah, the anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
some folks have been trying to draw a connection between him and the Shadow.
I wouldn't be surprised if there might have been a connection there, because he was showing up in movies as well, although more of an alien look. But then because of the movies, I went back to take a look at the older, was it 1910, 1911 pulps, and he looks more like someone who's Phantom of the Opera character than anything else.
Yeah, normal skin tone, kind of tuxedo, top hat, and the domino mask.
Right. Yes. I see the picture you shared.
Oh. Looks like a cross between Zorro and a typical opera goer, circa 1930.
Oh, well, that was like 1914, I thought. Might be off a couple years. So
No, it's I think 1911, 1912. Yeah, I think you're right on.
Interesting. Yeah, I know that in the Venture Brothers continuity, the Phantom Limb is supposed to be descended from him. And he's in a couple flashback episodes. Yeah. Because, before the Guild of Calamitous Intent, there was an organization just called the Guild, and it consisted of, Dr. Venture's great-grandfather, Aleister Crowley, Nikola Tesla, Phantomas, and, forget his first name, but, that Sandow guy. Anyway. Yeah, you can look it up. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, chat, you can...
Any
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to describe it for the live chat. Yeah, just imagine Victorian or through 1920s guy in white tie evening wear with a top hat and a domino mask. Oh, and the bloody knife is kind of Giallo style. I like that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
was kind of thinking in the organization with Crowley and Phantom Mouse isn't exactly on the side of the Saints, so I can only imagine. I can only imagine what that was like. What that would have been like in Venture Brothers.
It's a pretty
Yeah,
hilarious clip.
dialed up to 11.
Because they're on an airship and they like toss Crowley out in midair, like over the Atlantic.
Good start.
Yeah. So that's our reading roundup. Let's see what chat is saying. Yana Wolf says when she's writing, she reads other things slower than usual. Mostly to notice and study how others use tools. Yeah, that's how an author should read. Read every book twice, once for pleasure, and then the second time with an eye to how the author made you feel certain emotions against certain responses, and then you add that tool to your toolbox. Okay, gonna see what I can teach my army. Oh, I totally forgot about this. Silly me. Well, that's how I've learned all the skills, but I'm not a master squire yet. Well, apparently that would be a contradiction in terms, so I don't think you can master squire. Yep. We're really not too terribly far from the end game. Just kind of knocking off some side quests. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to kill the panel talk.
So, movie coming out in a couple of weeks, which actually looks interesting. Actually, a couple of days, I think. The Northman by Egger.
I've heard good things. It might already be out in some places.
Yeah. I'm moderately confident that it's going to be good, just because usually the guy does some good work, and also it looks like a pretty standard revenge plot, so...
What work has the filmmaker done before?
Let's see. He's done... Oh.
What?
He was the guy behind The Lighthouse.
Oh.
I take it ignorance is bliss.
So, my problem with The Lighthouse is that it is a fantastic build-up of a film. Like, the first hour and a half is just great, this brooding psychological intensity just weighing down on you. And then the last 15 seconds just throws it all away. Not because of a bad payoff, but because there is no payoff. It just goes nowhere.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah. So,
it
So
does.
catharsis.
yep.
I have to disagree there. But you really have to be savvy to all of the like artistic and psychological references that are only visual that he throws in there. What I will say is you're right by the setup. This is a filmmaker who understands the visual language of film and he understands the medium of film, because he said, right, I want to make like an old school, like silent film. It's not silent. So he even went back and got like the closest to the kind of film stock they would have used in like the 20s, and the aspect ratio is basically square.
Yeah. It's all black and white. It was in, what, 16 by something ratio?
Something, yeah. Yeah,
That
so
stuff was brilliant.
it was brilliant. The performances are top notch. There's some gross out moments though. I mean, it's not a popcorn muncher. Let's put it that way. But
No.
we'll have to talk about it off the air, because like I cannot go into the ending without massive spoilers. But trust me, it does tell a coherent plot that makes sense and is internally consistent.
Okay, then I must have been missing that, because all I got was that the one thing it explicitly wasn't was Lovecraftian.
Right.
Which, fair enough, even though it's kind of a cheat to adopt the Lovecraftian tone and then, drop little hints and then make it very clear that it's not in the point where you'd expect it to be. But to me, the payoff wasn't. So.
Oh, good night, Rawl. Rawl Nyanzi, ladies and
And maybe
gentlemen.
that's just me.
No, I can, I
Take care,
can
girl.
I can see how anybody could miss that. Like, it's some blink and you miss it stuff. It really is. The only reason that I can really wrap my head around it is that that's kind of the way I write, to be honest with you. And I've learned to pick up on these kinds of things through being an editor. So, yeah, the fact that it takes like a professional eye to make sense of shows that it's also not a popcorn muncher in the sense of being like directly accessible by everyone on an immediate basis. So it's got a high barrier to entry.
Is this like if you don't realize that in this scene he's making an allusion to the clock machine from Fritz Lang's Metropolis, you're gonna miss some important plot detail he was alluding to?
Yep, exactly that. Exactly. Because there are a lot of frames that are taken straight from paintings and classical sculpture and mythology. And you've got to know what they're referring to. So, like, even I was kind of scratching my head, but then I talked to a dude who's well-versed in art history, and like, well, surely you recognized when Pattinson and Defoe were in this pose, it's the same as, like, this Botticelli, or, like, this sculpture by Raphael, or that, like, oh. Okay.
Then I see, and that's the problem. If you needed something like that to understand what's going on in the film. It's not a good film.
That's fair. You've got a point.
I'll defend it. I haven't seen it, but I'll defend an artist making a piece of art that is not intended for mass consumption.
There's a difference between mass consumption and completely opaque. And by the way, I'd be fine if there was some like hidden meaning that completely changes the context of the film if you understand what's going on. But there has to still be a payoff for us regular plebs.
It is kind of
some sort of Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, it is kind
I think
of.
there's a space.
Yeah, it's a nudge and a wink vanity project. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's a space in between there. I can certainly see where CL's going with director making a film, has these inside allusions or inside jokes, whatever it happens to be, flagging to things that an average audience member doesn't understand. And making that film as an art project and putting that together to show to a select group of individuals, perfectly valid. Where it may have fallen apart is if you've taken that film and either you as the artist, as the director, producer, have said, well, I'm going to expand that audience to a larger group of people. Now I think you're potentially invalidating what you're doing as the artist. Now you're playing the cheat on the larger public if that's where it's going.
I'll just say this doesn't look like an underground. Anyway. Yeah, I'll co-sign that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm cautiously optimistic about The Northman because the trailers make it look like a much more popcorn or at least special effects laden. Like the story from the trailer, from what I can gather, is you've got that Norse princeling in the era where there was a petty kingdom every 5 feet. His father is the wise, just king, you know how it is. Rival king comes in, kills his father, captures his mother. He runs away and swears to take revenge and rescue his remaining family.
So, Viking Hamlet?
Kinda. As far as I can tell, he's not related, but...
I thought, in the trailer I saw, I thought it was his uncle that killed the good king.
Oh.
But I could be...
Well, then maybe it is just
Viking
Viking
misremembering,
Hamlet.
but I could have sworn it was his uncle.
Then maybe it is Viking Hamlet. But
Good.
I'm probably going to see it. Good.
Viking Hamlet would be good. That sounds based.
And possibly something about a dragon involved to be thrown in.
It's supposed to be about the myth of Amleth, who's supposed to be the direct inspiration of Hamlet.
Getting back to basics here, I like it.
Good. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm probably going to see it with my dad this week or the weekend, so I'll report back.
Thanks, but yeah, it sounds like you might have found a winner here.
Yeah, and then there's also a movie coming out called Bullet Train. That could also be good, hypothetically. Looks like a sort of comedic spy film.
Oh, speaking of comedic spies, thank you for that excellent segue. Spy Family. 2 episodes are out so far. It's fantastic.
Oh, yes. New anime for those who aren't tracking it. Also, is it Spy X Family, or how's the X handled?
I feel like people usually drop the because people don't say Hunter x Hunter, do they? They just say Hunter x Hunter, so
I say
it might be
Hunter x
fine.
Hunter, but I've never talked to anyone about it. So.
Yeah, I don't know what the usual convention is with the X's, but
Yeah, I think it's
Nihongo
silent.
wakarimasen.
Yeah, because like with Holic from Clamp, it's not pronounced XXX Holic. It's just Holic because in Japanese X is kind of like the mathematical unknown. So it's like where we would use blank space. So yeah, it should just be Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, Bradford
Okay.
Walker says the X is not pronounced.
Then Spy Family.
Spy
Good to
Family
know.
it is. Yeah. And I had to be corrected on that because I did say Hunter x Hunter for years.
What's stuck out to me the most is that because I went into it thinking so the basic premise. I don't think this is a spoiler because literally the premise is that a spy, a male spy, and a female assassin, for their own reasons, need to acquire a like normal-looking mom, dad, and kid family as cover for their mission. Neither of them knows that the other is a spy or assassin, so they each also have their like normal person reason for needing to suddenly be in a marriage with a kid. So they adopt a kid, get married. He's a spy, she's an assassin. Unknown to both
It's
of
a
them,
psychic.
the child is a psychic and knows exactly what. Well, doesn't know exactly what's going on, but she's aware of who they really are.
And neither of them are aware that she's a psychic. And all of this takes place in the totally not, we swear, East Germany during the completely not Cold War. Kid was either a project by the not CIA or the not KGB.
That's a lot of strange attractors, I'm not going to lie.
It's literally a war between like
Yeah, exactly.
Eastland versus Westland. What could this mean?
Yeah.
Head scratch.
So I went into this thinking it was mostly a comedy, and it's very funny, but the actual like spy thriller action is also very well executed on.
Yep. There's a subplot in the first episode where some East German political figure is trying to get pictures of some foreign minister wearing a toupee to expose that he is wearing a wig and force him to resign. And
Oh, the
at one
embarrassment.
point, one of his henchmen asked, "Boss, does it really matter if the guy wears a toupee? I mean, is that really a reason to try to make him resign?" And the guy shoots his minion and then says, "Transparency in government is essential." Also, the foreign minister is sympathetic to the West and has been secretly working to undermine our position.
Oh.
And how many
Joker
levels of,
office management.
how many
That
levels of
scene
Bob
right there
Gunn are
kind
you
of
on?
encapsulated the show for me because it's like
Really?
Hey, go ahead,
it
Seal.
was like funny joke immediately followed by lightning fast. That scene kind of encapsulated the show for me so far because it's like funny joke immediately and without warning followed by lightning fast execution. And you're like, oh, he just shot a dude right in front of us right after the show was funny.
Yep.
Hats off.
So it's able to pivot. It's able to pivot between its two poles very well. And without saying any more, I'll just say episode 2 is one of the greatest proposal scenes I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. It's also just adorable.
putting that on my will look for list here.
And it's by Studio Wit, who did the first couple seasons of Attack on Titan, so the animation is solid as well.
So look for that. Okay, and I'm looking to wrap this up. It's a chemist and a dragon. They're the original odd couple. Unless the
Apparently, Spy Family is one of this season's. Just everyone is watching it, but you know what? Sometimes everyone watches it because it's good.
Mm-hmm. Much like Geek Gab, everyone should be watching that.
I was plugging it to a friend at work today.
Yeah, was he receptive?
I left out the fact it was animated, so
Why is he one of those
he
anti-anime
was.
guys?
I left out the fact that it was an anime, so I'm curious to see if that changes things. No, I'm not sure what he is, so I just left that part out because I was like, shoot, if he likes it, he'll like it either way.
Shrewd.
But this way, I haven't unduly prejudiced him against it if he does not like animation. Tangentially, I learned a fun fact about Eiji Tsuburaya, who did the special effects for the original Godzilla and went on to start Ultraman. And that is that he would sometimes intentionally choose worse looking special effect options for certain scenes because he thought it was funny.
Okay,
Like
based.
there's a scene in one of the earlier Toho films
Wow.
where there's this like terrible looking puppet horse that they use. And it's like, why didn't you guys use like a real horse or like a good looking model of a horse? Like, why'd you use this obviously terrible horse puppet? And the answer is because I thought it was funny and would amuse the audience.
It's a dude in a horse mask.
And I'm just like, how many levels of Chad is this man on?
He's just standing there.
Yep, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Hilarious.
you know what? We could use some more Eiji Tsuburaya School of Effects direction, just like we could use more Nicolas Cage School of Acting.
More Dune 1990 acting.
Okay. Chan asks, how far away from the finale are we?
I
It's
wonder
been a
if
long
the
time
girls
since
will
I've
take my orders this time.
played this. We're in chapter 4, and I think that's the last one. At the very least, it's the second to last, but this is the part in every Final Fantasy game where things open up and you can go do side quests and fill out your party, so that's what I'm doing now. Anyway, just wanted to answer that question.
Yeah. So there are a couple of films coming out shortly that look pretty good, and stuff like that actually weirdly winds up irritating me more because it's proof that Hollywood still knows how to make a good story.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
When they're just trying to make a story, it actually winds up pretty good. And with the special effects, especially, that we have these days, you can do some incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think that special
Lord
effects...
of the Rings, the Peter Jackson version, it wouldn't have been as good as it was without special effects.
Yeah, although a lot of people throw shade at it for having bad CG now. Like, oh look, you can see the orc's foot go like face through a rock in this Moria scene.
some people just really like complaint.
True.
In fact, there are entire YouTube channels founded on them.
Indeed.
I wonder if that part of that is due to the thing being watched on the types of screens and resolutions that didn't exist when the thing was made.
I think people have just forgotten how to have fun.
Some of that. And there are people who try to find every potato and boot in the Star Wars space scenes. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
People, frankly, YouTube and the internet is ruining entire generations. The way, this is slightly off topic, but the way people adopt TikTok isms or act in a certain way is just bizarre. And people have also just started going with the react channels or critique channels or whatever, and everything is just, oh, this one bit of CGI was slightly out of place, so that means that the entire movie is terrible, and I'm right and everyone else is wrong.
It doesn't help that if you go looking for faults, you'll find them.
Yep.
I agree with everything you said.
Whereas my philosophy is...
Yeah. What's your philosophy?
Go ahead.
No, what's your philosophy first? I wanna
If I'm watching something, it's because I want to enjoy it, which is why I only really watch something if I think I'm gonna like it. So, if something is slightly off or it's a little bit wrong or whatever, I don't care. It's not until it gets so jarring that I find myself, well, my immersion is ruined. That's when I start caring.
Yeah, that's valid. Now,
When I get jolted out of the movie and realize that I'm sitting in a theater seat.
I am watching a movie. Yeah. Now, one caveat that I want to make here is, has the internet ruined generations? Yes, but it's not this generation. It's not the Zoomers. The internet ruined millennials. Smartphones have ruined Zoomers. It's kind of hair splitting, but I don't know. I remember.
Okay, fine. But millennials, by that logic, millennials were dealing with AOL chat rooms. Zoomers are the ones who have to deal with TikTok.
Yeah, because TikTok it's smartphone phenomenal.
One,
Yeah.
yeah, and that stuff is evil.
Yeah. Seriously, it is. I think it was Teresa Vavalo who said she had a vision wherein everyone would have a box that would let them talk to Satan anytime they wanted, and everyone assumed she was talking about televisions. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder what the real devil box is.
Well,
It's kind of interesting because, out in the my neck of the spiritual woods, David Wilkerson had something similar to that in a vision. So kind of interesting to see how all the stuff, how the various visions kind of melt together.
That would be super interesting. Do you recall any of the details?
He tied it more to porn, but still there'd be a box in everyone's house that would give them access. So,
He's saying that the TV, the phone, the computer,
the
anything
modem.
with a screen isn't the box.
Leave it to the artist. Yeah.
Well, as it happens, I kind of wrote a story on that.
Yeah, well received one.
Sorry, shameless self-promotion.
That's what we're here for. Yeah, actually, hold on. Yeah, we need to link that now. I have a moment.
Yeah.
And there,
The entire... Yeah.
here we go.
So I think I've talked about this before, but I don't write or have any intention of writing professionally. I just write when I have a story in my head that demands to be written. That was one of those.
Yeah, and it's titled The
Just sort of
Kraken.
happened to get published.
Yeah, I, including on my blog, I put the link. Give it a read. It's chilling, it's timely. It uses language as a weapon that strikes straight to the heart without ever killing a soul. Unlike potential real-life namesake. So here's where the story takes on an extra dimension. I'm going to be as circumspect as I can about this because not my channel, reasons like that. But yeah, the name of the story is The Kraken. It has to do with the perils of technology, the perils of the internet, kind of reaching through the screen. I'm sure many of you have seen news reports circulating on Telegram and Twitter and such about a certain figure from back in the intersection of internet blood sports and the manosphere, shall we say, who had been doing some freelance reporting. I'm not going to say from where or about what, for obvious reasons. But let's just say that Krakens might be involved in the internet. It's definitely involved. But more on that off the air. The curious and the foolish may seek out other details on their own. That's their own business, but I bring up these veiled allusions just to prove that Martel might not have aspirations of being a professional sci-fi author, but he's got the prognostications down. It's already coming to fruition. It's a good job.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Meanwhile, in the game, like in Fantasyland, we got a demon making a deal with a dragon. Looks like it's over a Zodiac Stone. Let's find out what they're scheming. Oh, it's a demon trying to shake down a dragon.
It's like that one Secretary of State's opinion on the Iran-Iraq war. Shame they can't both lose.
Oh, we are trying to save the dragon. Interesting. Sorry, you were saying?
Never played Final Fantasy growing up, so
Oh, here's
Really
a
recognize
fun.
any of the characters.
Hey, here's a fun translation snafu. They translated breath as bracelet. So dragons spit bracelets in this game.
How did they manage that?
CL, care to field an explanation?
The closest I can imagine is that they translated, read buresu as like brace, and thought, oh, brace, like a bracelet. That'd be my guess for how it happens.
Makes
You get
sense
weird
to me.
translations where they translate a loan word and don't step back and think, does this actually make sense?
Yep.
Like the good old oh, what is it? It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It has a picture of a dude with a big rocket launcher, and it's the good old Buster Rancher.
Oh, what you doing? Oh, wow. This is heavy, Doc. Oh, okay, that wasn't that bad.
Like, not so much a translation problem, just translators being weird. What was it, Gojira versus Destroya, where
Oh yeah.
you want to tell them or shall I?
You start. There's something in that movie I want to address as well, but you tell them the part you're thinking of.
Okay, so there's this bit where a scientist invents this thing called micro-oxygen, which standard Frankenstein, potential military applications, whatever. And he's on a date with this girl, and he says, "I'm not a mad scientist." And he says, "Mado scientisto." Would you care to guess how they translated "Mado scientisto"?
Mod autist.
Sorcerer's apprentice.
Wow.
Here's what gets me about whoever was doing that subtitling, right? Like, so it starts out like that, and then the grammar progressively gets worse, where it's like you can tell they're not translating it well, but you can at least understand enough of the broken English to realize what's being said. And you're like, okay, this is just a crappy translation. But then, you get to a scene where they're about to launch the Super X-13, this awesome Godzilla-proof fighter bomber. And as the jet is rising on the elevator, and you just hear the chattering of like hangar talk of like standby checks okay, fuel system check, etc. The subtitles start doing the Zero Wing intro, saying like you know what you're doing, launch Zig for great justice. And I'm like, okay, the subtitler is just trolling at this point. He knows he's bad at this, and so he's just borrowing from a famously terrible translation.
Was this a meme, or was it a fan sub?
It must have been. It was the only Japanese version of Godzilla vs. Destroya I could find online.
For great justice. Oh.
Take off every scene.
right.
Mado scientisto.
What's this Mickey Mouse BS?
I love that. I love that Mark Twain short story. The mad scientist.
Ooh, we got another rock.
Also, shoot, even from the good translations of that film, the fact that the monster destroyer, born the oxygen destroyer, but in English they render his name out katakana style as Destoroya, as if that's his English name.
Oh, that reminds me of Hellsing. Yeah.
Not familiar with that one.
Okay, so it's Hellsing. You got vampire as main character, a gunslinger. Alucard. You'd think it'd be Alucard, Alucard, Dracula backwards. You're making that tie to, the West, the novel and the movies and all that. But no, all the professional translators didn't do Alucard. They did Alucard because reasons, purity.
Oh.
Memes.
Like the opposite problem when One Piece first came to the West and they translated Zoro as Zolo, completely missing the fact that he's supposed to be a great swordsman.
I don't don't know, it might have been a Victory Gundam reference. Because those are the helicopter mobile suits. I'm stretching.
Zulus.
Yep.
This was for kids. I'm not going to give them that much credit.
Yeah, I'm stretching. But look, the dragon gets to join our party. And there, his ability is spelled correctly. So somebody knew it was up.
Huh.
I'm gonna hire him.
Oh, so that Passion Play Ultraman episode I sent you guys the pictures from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another case of the translators not like thinking through what they're translating, because in the Japanese the monster's name is clearly Baraba for Barabbas, but they're like, the Japanese don't distinguish between B's and V's, so let's translate this as if they're saying V as Varava. And so I almost didn't catch it until I paid attention to what was actually being said, and I'm like, oh, they named the monster Barabbas. Just like they translated planet Golgotha as planet Golgotha, even though in literally the next sentence the guy's like, yeah, it's named after the hill where Christ was crucified. I'm like, slavish faithfulness to the katakana is not helping here.
Yes, slavish faithfulness to katakana is pretty dumb, when katakana itself makes no attempt to be slavishly faithful to anything.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, being a old weeb, lived through some pretty dark times on translation, and really, it's like whatever the best practices are in translations, for some reason you don't find them once you hit Japanese to English translation.
You must have suffered.
I just don't get how, if you're good enough to be able to translate in the first place, that far better people than I have gone over the horrendous state of modern translations. But also, I can't tell if people these days are dumb or ignorant. But
Yeah, that's a big problem.
just some things that should be obvious to anyone with even a modicum of education, and they're just staring at the screen going, oh hey, what's this? I have no idea.
Cursive.
Oh, that's a low blow.
You don't often get a chance to do something that you normally do and turn it into secret code.
Yep. Yeah, all you have to do is write in cursive and no one will ever know what you mean. Which is sad.
Yeah, but then you
Guess
get
they don't teach penmanship anymore?
No?
no, because of the phones. It all goes back to the phones.
Oh, just popping over to chat for a second. Mega Buster said, just made the first step to switching careers. Gonna go get my GED and get into plumbing. That's actually a really, really good move.
Congratulations.
We need you.
Well done. Make sure you take care of your back.
Important safety tip. Hey man, go for it. You'll be out-earning me in a couple years. Our infrastructure's falling apart out here. I'm gonna do one more thing tonight. Add one last party member and then I think it'll be good. No, don't really have time for this. So, soft reset. I still have the PS2 can do that from the controller. Let's try that again. Glad I saved. Even with the load times, it saves time over the fight. There we go. Ah! Everybody's really quiet all of a sudden. This can't be that interesting.
Sorry, thumbing through chat, previous chat messages here.
Slowly making progress.
So, anyone here ever watch Top Gear?
Oh yeah.
Old episodes, yes.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the Grand Tour on Amazon.
Does it recapture the magic?
Oh yeah. It's the original crew just doing their thing.
They kind of shifted in the later seasons, though, to the more of the specials instead of trying to recreate the Top Gear and all that. I do miss the stick, though.
Yeah. Well, from what I gather, they did the shift to more of a special because, I mean, they're getting on in the years.
Hmm.
So doing the weekly thing might not have been working out for them quite as much.
And yet they go. I think my favorite one's their Mongolia episode.
That was a great one.
Yeah, they not airdrop, but they chopper them out in the middle of nowhere, throw down a few big gigantic crates, and tell them to build a car and find your way to civilization. But yeah, that was it's probably my favorite of the lot.
Their most recent one was called Carnage à Trois, and it's a special devoted to French cars.
And British jokes at the French expense.
Oh man, that's
Of course, they're British
that's
and
a
French.
three-way. That's a three-way pun. And that was a two-way pun. Anyway.
But their last regular episode was called Funeral for a Ford, I think. And it was actually a documentary on Ford's existence in the British car market. And it was actually quite solid as a documentary. Like, fascinating stuff. Apparently, back in the 60s and 70s, taxes were so high. Well, companies started offering cars as part of their compensation packages. You know, you get to a certain level and work with us for so long, and you got a company car. And Ford cottoned on to that and started making variants of its cars with, you know, like, here's the Honda Civic. Here's the Honda Civic with chrome on the bumper and multiple different dials. Here's the Honda Civic with luxury seating. And it's the Civic X, the Civic XL, stuff like that.
Weird.
I don't remember the actual names. But yeah, solid stuff all around.
Now, mind you, I am a bit childish, and I do like the exploding battleship scene where they're dropping something like smart cars on top of old clunkers. But you know,
Yes.
sometimes you just want to see a fireball.
That
As
was
always.
good. That was very good.
I love the episode where they try to kill the Hilux.
Yeah. Try and fail.
Which
By
one was
putting
that?
it- Oh my gosh,
Was that Top Gear proper?
pretty sure.
Hmm.
They, like, among other things, they put it on top of a building that's been scheduled for demo and drop it with the building.
Does it still not kill it?
They completely fail to kill it.
That's why it ends up like mounted.
There is a reason why it's the backbone of. Yeah. Backbone, Third World Armies worldwide.
Freaking technicals, man. But yeah, it's also why it ends up mounted like on a permanent display case in their studio. Well, at least until the BBC canceled the show.
Yeah. BBC doesn't know quality when they have it.
Maybe that's why all their seasons are like 6 episodes long.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think there was one, they wanted to do their version of a superhero show. I dropped it after the first 15 minutes because the origin story for these delinquents getting superpowers is literally getting hit should your light.
I like some of the shows. I mean, obviously the older ones, Sharp or a Dwarf, that sort of stuff. But I couldn't imagine any of them being extended out to a 26 episode season, the way that we run our TV shows. I don't think they did something in the quality, and most of the concepts just don't seem like they can be drawn out into that much time.
Yeah, there's something to be said for the longer shows, but there's also something to be said for telling a story and then ending it.
Yeah.
According to chat,
Put a few constraints on a system.
now go ahead and finish up, then I wanted to tell CL something. Constraints on a system, you say?
Oh, okay. Just having some constraints on the system, yeah, it tends to, I think, help you focus better on the story instead of saying I've got all this time and I can tell my story. I'd make a comic book allusion, but I don't think it's pertinent.
Well, and sometimes you've got the, the story of the week serials like CSI. Although those should be ended once you've told all of the possible stories and you're just either rehashing or developing into self-parody.
Yeah. I just
Like
wanted to
CSI.
mention. Yeah. I just wanted to mention to CL that dropping a Hilux from a helicopter is the only known way to kill it. That is all.
Pleasant. Pleasant memories of watching other people screw up. Well, we used to watch videos of the airborne getting their drops wrong, and it's horrifying in some ways to see the vehicle's crater, but the little child starts chuckling on all of it.
I don't know about you, I love lawn darts. No, that's literally what it's called when a vehicle goes face first into the ground, being formerly helo-born. Lawn darts.
Yeah, but it's so appropriate.
Is curling anything? Like, is curling euphemisms or anything that happens? 'Cause I think it should be if it's not yet.
Yes, but I can't bring it up in my company.
Ah, understood.
I miss airships. Thinking
I
about
think we
airborne.
discussed we talked about the airship being gone last night briefly.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Oh.
I wasn't here for that, so I
Yeah,
miss it.
absolutely.
Just, I talk about bullet trains being a civilized way to travel, but airships, that's a civilized way to travel.
Mm.
I think I'd like it a lot more than boarding a plane.
Yeah. Especially with... I saw something of a meme today, actually, of advertisement or a picture of a plane taken back in the 60s or 70s. And it's champagne and a proper-looking meal being served. And
You had to dress up. You weren't, you couldn't slum it in jeans and a sweatshirt. You had to dress in your Sunday best for it.
yeah, and the captain was, "Wow, honey, imagine how luxurious planes are going to be in the next 30 years."
And then Ryanair comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was also an Onion article from back in, I think, 2010 or something, which pretty much summed up the entire affair. Delta proposes stacking them like cordwood.
Oh, it's disturbing in more than one sense.
Yes, but the joke was Delta assures all passengers that complimentary oxygen will be provided. Just,
Yeah, well,
And now they've brought it back.
and the thing is, when you get down to it, airships, way more comfortable. Based on economies, they would be way more affordable if we had them. So you'd probably see a parallel economy in airships for the spend half a day or so getting to your destination and do it in style, or planes if you need to get there right now. But you would have to have actual accommodations on the plane. What I'm trying to say is the mere fact we don't have a parallel economy of airships and airplanes is a failure of capitalism.
Well, according to
Sounds
Megabuster, Shepard, the Hindenburg was sabotaged. Can we talk about that?
Yes. We
I
have.
think we mentioned it at least one other time when I was here.
We had a full hour-long discussion of it.
Okay, it has been too long then.
Yeah, it's
Apparently
been a
did
while.
Apparently did a memory dump overland. May have been the lack of protein. I don't know.
So is it all, like, all meat or just meat on Fridays?
Well, it depends. In the Latin rite to which I belong, it's just on Fridays, but then you start getting into the Eastern rites of the Catholic Church and the Orthodox, and it's like, for some of them it's all meat, all Lent long, and then they normally abstain from meat like every Friday at least, but then also it's no eggs, like no oil and no dairy either, on like multiple days, like Wednesdays and Fridays, or Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Like the patriarch of each sets the rules.
Huh. Okay then.
Right now I'm just trying to steamroll through this battle so we can get to the good stuff. Enemies are not lining up to take on Sid one-on-one as they did last time. They're learning. The Bodzil. Oh. Just yell at my guys somewhere. Come on. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, I don't care. You can throw your Aqua Soul. Are you too? All are welcome. Man, what's going on? All these guys just throwing their souls around. Don't appreciate what they got. I'm liking this Beowulf guy. Yeah, Sid has every single sword power in the game. It's like everything every Dark Knight, Temple Knight, and Holy Knight can learn. So can he.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. And he is just awesome. Okay.
Well, what I would expect from a character named after Elster.
Yeah, really, it is just as advertised. Breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah, did anyone see what Stephen King wrote on Twitter today?
I think I've got him muted.
Well, I might owe him an apology because on several occasions I've called him not a good writer, etc. But he has demonstrated that he is perfectly capable of writing some very disturbing horror. I pull it up because I
Okay.
want to get it right. So here is the entire content of what he said. Dinner. Get a nice salmon fillet at the supermarket, not too big. Put some olive oil and lemon juice on it. Wrap it in damp paper towels. Nuke it in the microwave for 3 minutes or so. Eat it. Maybe add a salad.
Ha.
Got chills down my spine reading that.
Dude,
Are you serious?
it's almost my bedtime.
This wasn't what I was expecting. Although the culinary part of me is cringing with that.
I wouldn't want to listen to his shopping list. I don't know if my heart could take it.
Oh, you don't want to hear him going out and buying a new lappy?
I knew what?
Lappy. Apparently, that's what he calls a laptop.
Yeah.
Does he just watch a lot of strong bad emails or something? Thought that would be a bit after his time.
I don't know. Maybe the cocaine took him over. Who knows?
Yeah, so one thing he hasn't written about is possessed cocaine. Although now I might. Also, now we got this cool robot.
I mean,
Yeah, what do you mean?
What?
oh, nice. I was just going to say, or no, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I was going to say demon-possessed cocaine would probably be giving away trade secrets.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about Cocaine Bear. That's all. So, apparently.
Wait, we talking about Pablo Escobar?
No. This is out in Kentucky. Apparently, a couple drug runners lost their stash, and the bear
Yeah,
got a hold of the powder. So,
Pablo
Oh, no.
Escobar.
yeah, they had to put the bear. They had to put the bear down, but he's now a tourist attraction.
I'll drop a link in the chat.
Oh yeah, it's like 70 pounds of cocaine.
Oh yeah,
too, so-
75 pounds. 175-pound black bear ate 75 pounds of cocaine.
Is that him in the hat?
You know? Yes,
Okay. Go on.
they stuffed him. You know,
Oh.
for the roughly 2 to 3 hours it probably took for his heart to spontaneously explode, that was the single most dangerous animal that has ever existed on Earth.
Yes. 175-pound bear eats 70 pounds of cocaine. Wow.
It's like giving bath salts to a werewolf. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to call the gaming segment, because I think we've made enough progress for today. We're more than halfway through the process of getting the spiky out of the big sword. So we can look forward to that. And yeah, what's everybody doing tomorrow night? Are we available?
I should
Yeah, I
be
can make it.
available.
Believe so.
Okay, great. We'll plan on 9 Central,
Might be around.
Cool 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, 8 Mountain. They just need to get rid of time zones. I'm just sick of them. Forget abolishing daylight savings time. Just get rid of time
Time is a
zones.
social construct. Just make everyone go off of Zulu time.
You put a piece of paper in front of me saying that, I'll sign
Actually,
it.
there's
Okay?
probably a proposal to do that. I was going to say there's probably a proposal to do just that.
I'm sure that like the same guys who lobby to get rid of pennies probably have that on the docket somewhere.
It's a proposal to get rid of daylight savings time.
By permanently adopting it.
Exactly.
That's good.
I'm in favor of getting rid of daylight savings. Stupid Cold War era relic.
Yep. But for the time being, just we can't have nice things.
Antitrust hardball people want to play.
Yeah, and it also depends on whether how much they're going to take out the Florida stuff going on Elon too. I know. That's as far as I'm taking that one.
Okay. I keep telling y'all you need to cultivate the discriminant mindset.
I really like Trabants. I covet one. Speaking of East Germany and Top Gear. Their bodywork is actually made of like cotton and old newspapers and stuff.
Yep.
And on that note, this has been Geek Gab's Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe and mash the bell icon. And show up tomorrow night at 9 Central for more Final Fantasy Tactics action. Until then, I'm Brian, and my panel tonight has been, in no particular order,
Studios.
Catholic Lancer.
Marteau.
And the Pulp Archivist.
Thank you, and remember, games are better in retrospect. Good night.